Hi there, my name is Ella and I'm here today with David Nicholls, the author of One Day, Starter for 10, who's here giving a talk today. So, hello, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Obviously you're coming back to Bristol and you studied here and write a lot about it. What does Bristol kind of mean for you? Is it like home or an inspiration?
Well, I lived here for a little over 4 years. I always think of it as sort of hinge really in my life. I mean, it was a huge event for me coming to university and coming here, and a very, very happy time, and I think a time when I actually felt like I was doing for the first time exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm hugely nostalgic and fond of it and grateful for that time. So I love coming here and reminiscing, and kind of there's always an element of sadness because of the the friends you miss and the stupid things you did and the terrible choices you made, but at the same time it was generally a very happy and rich time in my life, so yes, it means a lot to me.
You wrote Starter for 10, which is about Brian's university experience, and we've seen the film that he goes to Bristol.
Yes.
If you had to choose a film to epitomise your university experience, which isn't Starter for 10, what would you pick? I
mean, it's interesting because in the book Starter for 10, it's not Bristol, it's unspecified. And in the film we thought, well, we've got to show some buildings, so we better make it Bristol, because it was clearly Bristol to anyone who'd been here. For me, it's interesting because one of the challenges making the film of Starter for 10 is there's no college movie tradition in Britain, really. I mean, until very recently, when now it's finally made its way into TV and film, people really hate students on screen. So it's not like there's this great rich tradition of university movies in the way that there are lots of university novels, campus novels. So I would go for something like Rushmore, which I really love, which, even though it's about people a little bit younger, seems to sum up the kind of gaucheness and optimism and romance of that time, and it's a really smart, beautiful, funny, touching film.
So seeing characters like Brian, like the main character in Rushmore, Max, who have a lot of opinions and who are very strong-minded about them, how important do you think it is as students to be politically active, especially in the current climate of things?
I mean, again, I'm really aware of that walking around Bristol today, that it does feel as if it's in the air. Older people, middle-aged people like me, like to think that they were more radical and more angry and more involved and more committed than anyone has ever been, and than the people older than them and the people younger than them. And clearly that's not the case, and it's a very complicated, difficult political time at the moment. When I was at university in 1985, political opinions were really widely split. There was a huge difference between left and right. And in the 90s, that all got a little bit homogenized, but I think, again, opinions are very polarized and people are very passionate, and there's a lot of discussion about politics, which has got to be a good thing, I think. So even though sometimes it can be a bit depressing and a bit bleak because it's not a particularly optimistic time at the moment, it doesn't feel that way to me anyway, at least people are involved and engaged in a way they haven't been for some time.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. As your books grow older, it seems like the characters do as well, going from a Starter for 10 at university onto a marriage and a family.
Yes.
Do you feel like you've grown up with your books as well? Is that a deliberate...
Yeah, I'm aware of that. A part of me wants to kick against it, really. I mean, I don't want the next novel to be about a kind of midlife crisis, novelist with a midlife crisis. I really want to avoid that novel because it's what a lot of novelists end up writing. Yeah. But it is true. I mean, my first book was about being a student, and that was a huge event for me. My second book was about being a failed actor, and I was a failed actor in my 20s. And the third book, One Day, was about getting from 20 to 40 and what changes in that time, and I wrote that when I was 40. And the fourth book, Us, is about parenthood and being a father and being in a long-term relationship, which is also my current situation. The thing is, my life is always much more content and not quite as outrageous and dramatic and comical as the novels, I'm pleased to say. They're autobiographical in the sense that the spur, the catalyst, has always come from reality. Right. I've never really sort of had an argument and then gone and written it down. At that bit, that's where the imagination comes in. But with the next book, I'm kind of determined not to write about someone too much like me. I think it's important to break out of that pattern.
Do you know yet what that kind of person will be?
No. I mean, at the same time, I think that you do get to a point in your life where you think, can I write about 20-year-olds? Can I write in the voice of someone in their 20s or younger or a little bit older? And I think sometimes you have a little panic about that and think the experience is completely different, and you overcompensate and exaggerate what you think, all the kind of pop cultural references and all the technology, you kind of overdo it.
Yeah.
And you forget that actually people's emotions and experiences, broadly speaking, probably don't change that much over time. But I have no idea what the next book will be. I wish I did, because I should have delivered it a year ago. I feel a little bit like I've run out of major crises which I can fictionalise, and major events. So I think it's good to, the next one will be slightly more outside my experience.
As it is Freshers Week this week, and we all see there's lots of new students around everywhere in Bristol, what would you tell your younger self starting at University of Bristol today?
I would say calm down a bit, I think. You know, I was very kind of puppyish, like Brian in the novel. You know, I wanted to meet everyone and tell all my best jokes and make the best friends in the first week, and I was really sort of passionate and intense and just trying a bit too hard. It was all a bit of a performance. So I think I'd tell my younger self just to take a deep breath and calm down a little bit. And my younger self would ignore me, which is fine.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and we're looking forward to your talk.
Thank you.